Okay. So she's always talking about crazy conspiracies. They control the earth and they control. Read Mishnah Nadah 5:4, and you think something's wrong with that, you're a bad guy. Right? Goyim. If you metzitzia buffet, you're a bad guy. You're a dumb Goyim, right? You think if you read the Israel Hayom, bottom of darkness, Jesus is gonna save everybody. Well, Trump's the save, but Jesus is like Trump's right hand man. I don't even know how to say this stupid shit. Like, it's like when the friars are on the feed and they're trying to deny being a pedo, and you hear what they say. It just doesn't come out right. That's what I'm doing right now. So we get this yearly. We get a water report. Normally it's not this big. This is actually pretty big.
Yeah, there's a reason.
But my wife handed me this thing and said, "Here, read this." And I said, "Well, I want to read it on the live because I want you to see my natcha reaction. It's natcha. I don't want you to see some canned thing. I don't want you to see me. I want to see what kind of crazy conspiracies my wife is talking about here." So this is at the end. I'm not even I have to read the guts of it still. But last page says, important information about your drinking water. Which, again, I don't know how many of you are concerned with your drinking water, but whatever. We are required to monitor your drinking water for specific contaminants on a regular basis. Results of regular monitoring, are an indicator of whether or not our drinking water meets health standards. During January 1st to June 30th, 2025, we did not monitor correctly for lead and copper, and therefore cannot be sure of the quality of our drinking water during that time. Isn't that interesting though?
We fucked up. We didn't test your water at all.
But it's not like this is new. It's not like, oh shit, we just invented this shit. So haven't they been monitoring like the whole time? Isn't that how that works?
You would think after Flint they'd be a little more diligent.
Well, Flint was because they switched Flint off of the Detroit water system and started using a different water system. And that water system didn't have the additive that they put in the drinking water to prevent the pipes from when you think, well, what the fuck are they putting into the drinking water to make it not corrode the pipes? And what does that do to us?
I sent you that thing today on Messenger from that doctor that was talking about the water we shower with.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but yeah. So it says, what should I do? There is nothing you need to do at this time. This is not an emergency. Or use an alternative water source at this time. Even though it is not an emergency, as our customers, you have the right to know what happened and what we are doing to correct the issue. The table below lists the contaminants we did not properly test for. I mean, what does it fucking matter? This happened.
Okay, but when you keep reading, it's like they're talking out both sides of it. Something like that.
How often we are supposed to sample for these contaminants, how many samples we are supposed to take, and how many samples we took. When samples should have been taken, and the date we will collect follow-up samples. Contaminants. So here's your little chart thing. Contaminants, lead and copper. I'm not nearly as concerned about copper as I am about lead.
That causes brain damage.
Yeah, lead. Lead's bad. Required sampling frequency is 60. Number of sites sampled was 59. When June 25th, June 3rd to December 31st, 2025.
Right.
What happened? What is being done? The mistake. This is not happening. I mean, doesn't the water know what he's supposed to do? I mean, there's more than one guy.
You get
Of course, as a cashier, orders and shit. What did you? I
didn't give them their food.
I took orders and I gave them like half of their food, right? You know. For more information, please contact Mr. Thomas Rowland, operator in charge at 313-387-2615. Yeah. The thing is too, we've been saying for over a decade now that the Redford water is poisonous. It's killing the animals. And I mean, you can smell it. Our water stinks. Especially if, like, in the morning, when you first use the bathroom sink or whatever. I mean, we're not talking about a 24, 48-hour period or whatever. We're talking about oftentimes we go to bed after midnight and wake up, 6-ish. So it's only a good 5-6 hour period, and yet still, when you turn that water on, it's got a little bit of a funk. Let's see. That was
our plants with it.
That was it. That was the one page. So,
but the brevity of that, like they write it so casually and put it in the back of the pamphlet.
What's my dream? That we eliminate as a whole and make the world a better, safer. They have blockers. They have all these things that are. The Situation Room is like a big deal, and for somebody to have not only had a recording device in there, but then it gets leaked out, and then they make a book about it, and then that Lawrence guy, the reporter, the big fucking prominent reporter, is interviewing one of the guys, and he says, you got these things. He says, we're not going to talk about where the tapes. We're not going to talk about
right,
that.
Because it was.
And the reporter doesn't go, what the fuck are you talking about? We're not. That's the thing I want to know about. Where did they get those tapes from? Those are Situation Room tapes. That should be as illegal as fucking hell. Like, where'd you get that? But the reporter just goes, okay.
Journalists can't do that or they lose their job.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be journalists. Like, when you think about that from a perspective, like, now, when you're comparing reporters to journalists, like, reporters report what they're told to say. Journalists, theoretically should be,
And presidents shouldn't be criminals.
But that, it always reminds me of the Prince Andrew interview. Where what's her name, Diane Sawyer, whatever. Even the
fucking Royals disowned that fucker.
But the interviewer is the high-ranking reporter broad. I don't names because I don't watch this shit, but I know she's prominent. And Andrew says, well, at the time I didn't sweat. Wait, what is it? No, okay, so I didn't sweat because I had been shot at in the Balkans or whatever. And the reporter's just like, okay. She doesn't say, what the fuck are you talking about? That's ludicrous. That's never happened before. Nobody's ever stopped sweating because you die. Your body sweats to cool itself. And you definitely, don't suddenly stop sweating because you got shot at. And you, especially, you're a sweaty bitch. There's lots of fucking pictures of you from that time all sweaty and shit. So what are you talking about? That was his main argument for why that picture wasn't him, was because he was all sweaty and he didn't sweat at that time. So how can you take anything that's said seriously? Because he didn't sweat. He did sweat, but then he didn't sweat. And now he sweats again. He's back to being a sweater. But at that time, he didn't sweat. That's literally his only argument.
Why don't you believe him?
Because I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. I mean, do you not, like, it's, I don't know, I always feel like insulted and I end up. It makes me resistant and skeptical of literally anyone. Did you know that Chuck Schumer is Amy Schumer? Not really fun. She's decent looking and she has huge tits. So that was part of it, I'm sure. But it's like Sarah Silverman, right? Sarah Silverman was hot too. You wonder, would Sarah Silverman have been had been like anything if she wasn't hot? You know, the one thing about those Jewish comedians is it's not like they're super creative or philosophical. They more just say like outlandish shit. That woman's not gonna say stuff like that, and then she says it, and you're like, oh my god, she said that. It's like, well, yeah, but was it funny? Are you what are you talking about? Not only are we talking about friars who aren't funny, I stand on that. I don't think friars are funny. I don't think Jerry Seinfeld is funny.
You're annoying.
It's annoying. And what's up with airline food?
He's a whiny bitch.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting because, you know, again, like if a black comedian like a Dave Chappelle is where he is, he had to be the creamiest cream of the crop. He wasn't just going to be given any sort of spotlight just being an average fucking comedian. To get that level of spotlight, he had to be really, really good. He couldn't just call Uncle Morty and be like I want to give it a shot.
He's also super smart.
Yeah, well, obviously. And to be a black comedian at the top, you have to be Cat Williams, another smart guy. Patrice was fucking amazing. Karen, what's going on? How you talking about the Jews too much? But like to be that level, you know, you don't watch those guys and go, how did they get here? You go, man, yeah, somebody thought I could make a lot of money off of these freaking Negroes. But when you look at like I've done extensive videos on Andrew Dice Clay and how not funny Andrew Dice Clay was. It was a time, at the time, I don't know. I mean, again, shocking shit, and he was repulsive.
Yeah.
Like he represents all of the. He's a you know, a collage of all of the worst traits of the 80s, down to his dress, down to everything. But what people don't realize is whatever his fucking real name is, I can't remember at the time. Right? Something, yeah. He was a little Jewish kid who was, you know, fat and not very popular and wanted to be a big band leader. He was a big band guy, you know, and
that always goes hand in hand with comedy.
Well, he gave it a run. He didn't work out, so he came back home and was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna just be a comedian then." And he created the Dice character based on on Vinnie Barbarino, the Nutty Professor, the original one, you know. Buddy Love kind of character. Oh fuck, I always forget. It's four people that he based it off of: Fonzie and somebody else. He stole all these pieces and put it together to make the Dice Man, who, you know, I mean, think about like some of his most famous shit. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch her poor doggy a bone, and when she bent over, Rover took over and gave her a bone of his own. Incest, I mean, fucking bestiality jokes?
Hilarious.
That's fucking hilarious. And
but as kids, we were all like, oh!
Because nobody said that shit.
Right.
But it wasn't like... And you know what's interesting, too?
I always wondered why my mom didn't like him. Like, Mom, it isn't funny to you? She's like, no. And I get it.
Well, like, if you go look at Dave Chappelle's stuff... Dave Chappelle, if you look at all of his an internet, you could get away with doing the same jokes everywhere because people didn't see it. If you go look at Andrew Dice Clay's like first 5 years or whatever, it's the same goddamn shit.
Exact same act.
Exact. The jokes are the same. He might have tuned them up a little bit, but it's all the same. And literally he decided he was going to do the comedian thing, came up with the character, and was like immediately given, opportunities like to be on the Red Fox show or whatever, like immediately. It's just not how it works. Right? Thinking about a different tack with regards to the Talmud and Torah, tyrants and terrible souls practicing torture and terror. Is that line? I don't know what you're doing here. I'm sorry. But it's all just so. I can't. It's also obvious. It's weird to think about. Like I think about my wife 5 years ago, 10 years ago, going, you can't say these things. Even 3 years ago, you can't generalize like this. You can't. But first of all,
I still hate it.
I know, but I've presented you with more than enough information to prove it. Documentation that is their shit. It's not like I'm looking at Alex Jones's page and then regurgitating it, right? But
even my thing with that is just because it's printed doesn't mean they follow it correctly. However,
but that's the second part: is show me examples of the Jewish, anti-metzitzia group, anti-Mishnah Nida group, anti-soul correction group, even the Israel Hayom Bottom of Darkness article, the soul correct, the that's supposed to be like this exposing article. If you actually read it, it's if you're a victim and you're trying to build up the courage to do something about it, to say something, and you read that article, you won't. It reiterates over and over again how nothing will come of it. And then you have these statements by the good guys, the people that are putting out the video or the article, the doctors and shit who what are you doing?
In the red.
Okay, the doctors and shit who the psychiatrists and psychologists and shit. And at the end, the one guy is saying that he has an existential need to deny what the victims are telling him. And he has an internal struggle with whether to believe the victims. Oh, look at how funny he is. Isn't he? This same impression countless times in the show. He's so funny, he does it over and over again. Groucho Marx, a friar imitating another friar.
Even funny.
No, God, no. But you have these articles where the good guys are saying, like they're hearing the same story over and over and over again for years. The same rabbis are mentioned, the same exact psalms, the same songs, the same everything is repeated, and you have these guys saying they have an existential need to deny what's being said to them. Because what's the most important thing is not that the victims get properly treated, it's that ma'am. Said why people thought Andrew Dice Clay was funny. I mean, as a child, in 89, came back with 250, something like that. Like, I don't remember the whole thing, but on the fucking playground. What happened when you tried to join act.io? I wish I could bring you on and you could talk, but it doesn't work. But Mary disappeared for like 3 months. And it was right after she had tried to infiltrate act.io, which, and it's one of these things that's just so obvious. And if I were to say Israel has infiltrated college campuses where they have rooms set up, situation rooms set up, where they have computers, a bunch of computers, and inside a bunch of Jewish students, college and high school students, are directed by adults who are ex-IDF or current IDF members. It's literally like they're fed through Israel, Herzliya University, IDC University. It's a military program. They made it into a video game, as they call it, where, like, again, if you never played No Man's Sky, I don't know but you go to the you go to the app, you create a profile. They then train you on how to operate, what else to do. While in the app, you select, you go to a mission room, a place that'll give you 4 or 5 different missions to choose from. You select the mission, it'll give you a briefing on the mission, what you're supposed to do, who the target is, and then what the reward is. If you choose that mission, you leave the hub, now the app will take you to the mission. So if my feed is the mission, wait, what's going on? Did you just change your profile pic, Mary? But the app will take you to, the other app will take you to the YouTube, take you to the Facebook or whatever. You then do what you need to do, follow your mission parameters. Once you're done, you go back to the app. It'll take you back to the hub where you turn in your information and you get your reward. If I say that, okay, good. If I say that, most people are going to be like, oh, that's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory kind of bullshit that, you're trained to say. And it's like as goddamn true as, it's way more true than your Bible. It's very well documented. It's 100% reality. And as bad as I make it sound or whatever, I don't even do nearly the justice to what it actually is. Who's involved? Of course, you have the Adelson family involved. The people that literally funded the Trump campaign, giving Trump well over $100 million so far, pledging to give Trump $250 million to run for the 3rd time. Oh, look, it's Mrs. fucking what's her name. So this is a great show of what I'm always talking about, where in this show, outside of Carol O'Connor, which and I get like zero entertainment. This broad, she's not funny. And she didn't have a wide range. She played the same character. Like, this is just a tuned down version of what's her name? Facts of Life, Mrs. Garrett. The whole Facts of Life show, just oh, it's so funny. But you see these same tropes. Like, what's funny about this But when it came to her, she was an actress who was given so many opportunities, not because she was so funny or capable. The first thing she was ever in was this commercial for a gas. It was like a 5-minute commercial or something. It was weird, some sort of ad. But she was taking a shower, and the narrator take a long shower, but she was the maid on different. She's the maid on Different Strokes. She's for whatever reason people are like, oh, she's so great that she should be given her own show. And when given the reins, given the opportunity, okay, you're going to get your own TV show. What ideas do you have? She says, oh, well, how about this? How about I am the headmaster at a boarding school? Because, you know, boarding schools are something all of us Goyim can relate to, right? Like, I know most of you are like, man, I wish I could get rid of my kids. I could pay to have them sent off and be raised by somebody else. But she's given this show. She is hands-on. She gets to pick and choose everything while researching the show. At a girls' college, she meets the broad that would eventually play Natalie, again, a Jewish girl. I guess this old lady and this college kid spark up for her. Natalie is supposed to be a part of the show. The first season of the show runs, Garrett and the headmaster, but I guess for some reason people, well, obviously they weren't very good, but they realized after the first season that the kids were the stars. So they basically completely retooled the show, only kept Tootie and Natalie, the show across the country, did all these things that I've really only them do it with Saved by the Bell, but she come back job on Different Strokes again. But she just think about everything I just said. She's given this show, it's not very successful, so they retool it and run it, you know, different. They change it up, but they only keep the one broad that's Natalie and then Mrs. and Tootie, because Tootie's always on roller skates for some fucked up reason. They say it was because she was so short. It was a way to keep her in the same shot as the rest. But just the idea that somebody wore roller skates all the time is fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. Yeah, boarding schools are so funny. Exactly. They even rewrote the theme song. The theme song was different. But you can't be like, well, the broad that played Natalie, Mindy, whatever her name is, was just such an undeniable talent. That's why, because what else was she in? After Facts of Life, she did the game show circuit that a lot of them do. A lot of them end up doing that, where they're not good actors, but they have this star quality, the name, so then they bring them on like Hollywood Squares and shit like that. Another example of this that's just so fucking disgusting to me is, what's his name? Bowser from Shanana. What was his name? John Bauman. So, like, look at this. This is So this is Shana Na. Let me show you here. This was fucking popular. And so he's supposed to be John Bauman, supposed to be the tough guy of the group. They're all supposed to be tough. And so at first he is doing the show scenes, or like the game show scene, as the character Bowser. The host is calling him Bowser. He's playing Bowser while, I mean, this is what's that show? This is Password, right? Why would Bowser be a password? That was interesting. Let's try this again. So you think, wait, just think about this. This is such a fucking disgusting example of culture. Like, this is black. Doo-wop is black. It's not a bunch of Jewish guys pretending to be, greaser thugs. I mean, it's just crazy. So John Bauman he ends up, I guess I know I'm dating myself here, but Hollywood Squares comes out and they end up combining Hollywood Squares and Match Game. And Match Game was Gene Rayburn's show, right? And Gene was a dick. From all accounts, Gene was a dick. But the way it would work was that Gene would host the show for the first half, and John would be one of the characters on the show, one of the contestants, and then they would switch, and John would be the host, and he was so fucking bad at it. And then Gene would just you could tell Gene couldn't stand him. He had no business being anywhere. Do you guys honestly think that this band was going around the country in a fucking van, building a name for themselves and an audience? Look how awful this is. And he's the star. John Bauman's the star. I mean, it's so fucking cheese. And I could just keep going on and on and on with examples of this shit. Again, this show here. Every single character is Jewish except for Carol O'Connor. Except for Archie. Every single person. Mike's Jewish and Gloria and Edith. And then the best part is Edith dies, right? And they end the show, but then they bring it back as Archie Bunker's Place. It's like a spin-off of his own show. And now this time Archie is a bar owner. He still lives at the same house, but his Jewish nieces come and live with him for reasons. Don't remember. Somebody died, whatever. So they come live with Uncle Archie. And now Archie is the bar owner. His partner, the guy that owns the bar with him, is Jewish. The daughters are like his accountant, member, his nerdy ass accountant is like, it's all the same premise. Good enough. But you have these undeniable stars like Carol O'Connor or like John Goodman. And you can surround that star with your supportive cast. Cool. I mean, this is all just... I just don't understand, man. This is... The hardest part is getting people to listen. It's not like it's finding the information or making the argument, right? It's much more, you know, just to have the platform, just to have the opportunity to say what I want to say, and then you read to you Mishnah and you go, yeah, well, who cares? Then you and I are cut from a different cloth. You know, to me, Mishnah Nadav 5:4 is the wall. It's the thing where it's like it's kind of sucks, right? It's almost like, love it, where if you can provide me with something that's worse than Mishnah Nadav 5:4, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear whatever it is you can come up with. If you can show me a different religious text, a different group, anything out there. All you dumb fucking Satan devils, like to me, it's so crazy to say that the talking about Palestine, as long as you're not talking about Palestine. Well, nowadays, they talk about Palestine all the time. They essentially about it. You know, yeah, we kill these people. Yeah, we're killing these people. Like, it's pretty sure. But I experienced it firsthand on my feed, on my other feed, where it's been completely invaded. Again, kind of another little sidebar, but, you know, when I'm going live on my other page, and say I have 10 viewers, and 6 or 7 of them are acknowledged themselves to be Jewish. Right? Oh, there's one of them now. Interesting. I mean, right here. It's funny that I'm saying it right as this dumbass shows up. But what are the chances that random Jewish people across the world are just stumbling across this page of all pages and then camping out and crying and crying and crying? And what chance? What are the chances? Do you really think that I'm just... I mean, it's either I'm really great at what I do and I'm so entertaining that they just can't get enough, or it's act.io. And now that this this dumbass is here, now we've been exposed. Now there should be a cavalcade, a flood of them coming through to cry. Back from temple. Here it comes. If you're watching, don't forget to like, share, and sub. This is the most important feed on fucking YouTube right now. I'm so tired of living in a life where I'm supposed to... Like, I could talk all day about how great Rathbone is. You guys should all watch Rathbone. I think he's doing some of the most important shit on there, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look at... Fucking stereotypes. God, I hate this shit so much. Fuck, I got distracted. What the fuck was I just saying? Your feed is really bad, dude. Try to reset, please. I don't want to reset right now, and I don't think it's gonna matter where I'm doing it, or if the you know, feed is getting fucked up. Like, that's not gonna change. You know what? I'll run outside. We'll see what happens if I go outside, even though I don't really want to go outside where it's 1,000 degrees out.
It's oppressive.
It's oppressive heat. It is. It's very oppressive. You know, if I wasn't getting the reaction I get, I would think something's wrong, or that like I'm not gonna. Oh, that's what I was saying. I'm tired of living in this world where I'm not supposed to say I'm fucking great, where I'm not supposed to say, you know, watch this shit. They really are trying to shut you down today. All right. Did it get any better that I went outside? I just suggesting. I'm sure. No, never. What are you sorry for? Nothing to apologize for. I'm trying to help. Did it get better? What happened to Lord? How did Lord stop making music? What's up, man? I have to. I'm sucking all the juice out, baby. What's up, girlie? No, I just started. How will be spoiled if he's not buying his stuff? That's my favorite one. Yeah, it's.
All the other princesses, but she said, "Yeah, I don't have the pink. I like the pink dress." I said, "You don't need it." She said, "Oh, please."
Yeah, well, you're a bit of a pushover. Huh?
And she knows it already. Right up her nose.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Gives me a hug and a kiss. Hey, the hell you say no?
You don't. Obvious. That's why I don't have one. I'd never say no.
There are boys that are like, hell no.
Right. I don't know how. Like if I had a girl, I wouldn't even know how to discipline her. You know, because at some point.
So I'm obviously the oldest. I got 3 years. My dad told me something. I think it was 2 years ago. It's always stuck with me. And I think about it because he spoiled the shit out of all 3 cars, whatever they needed to make it happen. I said, "What's your wife doing?" He said, "I don't care. They're gonna find another guy that." And I thought about it. I said, every trick I know is out here tricking and doing all this shit, you know?
Yeah, you got a point.
Downfall of woman, right?
Yeah. Later, brother. It's better now. Okay. I will agree from my perspective that you are entertaining. I mean, you would think that me calling you a pedophile wouldn't be entertaining to you, but you're proud of it. You know? You guys are, well, I would say you're proud of it. Again, none of them ever come on here and actually say, you know, yes, I'm Jewish and I believe in these things and I you know, I don't see what's wrong with it, but they never actually do that part. You know, none of them are going to come on here and address Mishnah Nada 5:4. Really strange. You know, if anything, they get blasphemous. They start denying the Talmud and shit. Like, that's not what it says. That's not what it says. It's clearly what it says. Yeah. I've been getting as many people as I can to read it. I get out my phone and I'll be like, all right, here, read it here. Which I'm gonna do now, just for those wondering what I'm talking about. So you put in Mishnah, Mishnah, new word, Niddah 5:4. Sefaria.org will pop up. It's like the official Jewish. A girl who is 3 years and 1 day old, whose father arranged her betrothal, is betrothed through intercourse, as the halalchic status of intercourse with her is that of intercourse in all halalchic senses, meaning ownership takes place. Once the rape happens, he now owns her, as long as she's 3 years and 1 day old. And in the case where the childless husband of a girl 3 years and 1 day old dies, she's childless because she's 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Her husband is 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, he dies. If his brother, the Yavam, engages in intercourse with her, he acquires her as his wife. And if if she is married, a man other than her husband is liable for engaging in intercourse with her due to the violation of prohibition against intercourse with a married woman. Do you guys hear what I'm saying here? A married woman? She's 3 years old, 3 years and 1 day old, 4 or 5 years old. She's a married woman. If the girl is less than that age, younger than 3 years and 1 day old, the status of intercourse with her is not that of intercourse in all halachic senses. No ownership takes place. Rather, it is like placing a finger into the eye. Just as in that case, the eye constricts, sheds tears, and then returns to its original state, so too in a girl younger than 3 years and 1 day old, the hymen returns to its original state. In the case of a boy 9 years and 1 day old, whose brother had died childless, who engaged in intercourse with his yivama, his brother's widow, intercourse, and he acquires her as his wife. But he cannot give her a bill of divorce if he chooses to end the marriage until he reaches majority, which is, I think he has 2 pubes. And then 6 months later, after he has his bar mitzvah. And if he engages in bestiality, he disqualifies the animal from being sacrificed upon the altar, and the animal is stoned due to his act. Put in a pit, and they throw rocks at it till it... Any animal is sitting there. I grab a rock, and I throw it, and I hit the animal. It's hurt, it's terrified, and you're just throwing rocks at it, laughing and giggling. Oh, good hit. What? How mentally fucking, like, this is just there's this progression of thought that takes place here, right? This is something I keep talking about with the teen takeovers that are a big deal here. So I don't know if you're noticing this, but anywhere you go to this year where there's some sort of state fair, the big fair of the year, they're now adding all these rules. There are metal detectors that you have to go through to get in. There are police everywhere. And what they're saying is it's because, well, at least here, they use the teen takeover. There was a flyer that was going around suggesting a teen takeover was going to happen. First of all, who does that shit? Do you guys remember a couple of years ago? When the Storm Area 51 thing was all over Facebook, all over social media, and nobody knew what it was, but they were like signing up for it or whatever, or it was getting all sorts of attention. We're back. Okay. I knew something wasn't right. If there was something called Storm Area 51, if people were really planning on storming a military base, you get yourself killed. And why would you advertise it? Why would it be something that I know about? And so these teen takeovers, they're putting out flyers so that the police can bust them. I mean, you realize how stupid that is? Hey, we're gonna do this big crime. Let's send a flyer out. I'm gonna rob this bank on Friday. Anybody else want to join me when we rob the bank on Friday at 2 p.m.? Yeah, I'm sure the cops won't be there. But you have these teen takeovers that are happening all over the place, and I guess, I don't really know. The only one I've seen was the ones that are being done at the Scientology churches, whatever you want to call them, compounds, where the teens are just running through it and then running out. And I don't understand what that does. Seems like a dumb waste of activism to me. Dumb waste of energy, dumb thing to focus on, dumb fucking distraction. But, I look at it and I say, well, like, the teen takeover is the most American thing possible. Nothing's more American than the teen takeovers. Think about teenagers like my kid, 15 and 13. They were born in Obama's presidency, but they don't remember any of it. By 2016, Obama was done. So by 2016, one of them was 6 and one of them was 4. They have zero memories of that sort of presidency. I'm sure their first real memories regarding the presidency was the election, the mock elections that they were doing in schools. But all they've known is Donald Trump and then the little Biden break. But just Donald Trump. And when you look at shit like Venezuela, where we use some sort of magic space weapon, the discombobulator, as Trump leaked. Nobody, again, none of the journalists, none of the reporters, none of the integrity, the journalistic integrity representation. Not one of them was like, hey, what the fuck do you mean by the discombobulator weapon? We use some special magic weapon that shut down all the electronics, gave people headaches, made people's noses bleed. And then we went in and kidnapped the president, allowed him to change clothes like 4 or 5 times in the process, took pictures and stuff like that, and then bragged about it. You have the Israel-Palestine situation where people who don't live there are just taking it. You get enough people together, you get enough of a force, a show of force, you can take whatever you want. I mean, how dare the system chastise teenagers for doing exactly what they've been shown to do by the highest office in the land? And shit, Trump's election was that. The first election, he lost by 2.7 million votes. They knew we wouldn't vote for him again. So this last election, I mean, it was Sleepy Joe for one debate, and then the second debate was against Camel Toe. And prior to, they were saying over and over again, like, she's scared. You know, she's saying she only wants one debate. She's scared of Trump. Trump's gonna smash her, blah, 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 blah. And she was saying, no, I'm not. I don't want one debate. I'm saying all I need is one debate. I'm more than willing to do as many debates as you want, but I'm only gonna need one. And then the debate happened, and she just dismantled him. She made him look so fucking stupid. Like Biden had already done a good job of that, and Biden, you know, was barely there. But she came in and just made him look like her bitch. Made him look like the incompetent fool that he is. And after the thing, they were like, all right, so when do you want to do the next one? And she was like, anytime. And he was like, well, I don't know. You know, initially he was saying he wanted 3, but now for some reason he's not too keen on doing another one. And that was it. If you can show me another presidential election that was presented to us, and there was only two debates, I mean, it's fine. And it's so fucking out. Again, there were only 2 debates for the President of the United States. And both times, he looked like a complete fucking jackass. The only thing they could talk about was that Biden was stumbling over himself and looked really old. That was the only point that could be made. But they knew that Trump can't win an election. You know, on equal playing fields and presented with, you know, enough opportunity for people to see what it, you know, because every debate, every time he spoke, you never actually heard policies. You never actually heard anything that he was going to do. He talked shit about Biden. He talked shit about how the country was shit before he came around. And that was kind of it. But yeah, I'm terrified for our children as well. It's they've been preparing for a really long time to do some really awful shit. And thanks, Miriam. And they're not just preparing for nothing. They're gonna do whatever it is. They're not building up all the fucking, like all of you that are stuck on the detention or on the data centers. Those aren't data centers. Those are detention centers. We're not suddenly like run out of internet. We suddenly just don't know how to handle the internet and the AI and all that. So we need to build all these data centers everywhere. No, these are detention centers. That's why it's all so hush hush. That's why everything's such a secret. And it makes me sick saying it. Like, it really does turn my stomach. Mainly because I didn't succeed. You know? At least if I would have succeeded and gotten to whatever level, you know, it takes to buy your way out, buy your little island, buy something. But that's what Q says. Q exists. I didn't even know Q still existed. You'll never find a video of mine, a feed of mine where I'm like, guys, QAnon, this, that, and the other. They were so good. Never, not once. Not once did the secret group that's being fed, you know, stories to it's like the wiki dumps, right? All of those big old wiki dumps that the Snowden thing, the fucking, what's his name? The blonde guy. If you look at that shit, first of all, nothing was dumped about Israel that wasn't already known. Right? Anything that was said, that there hasn't been another big dump since. There's just nobody is like, fuck it, this is insane. We got to do something about this. It's just, we're talking about, you know, if you get stuck on the whole Zionist thing or the Israel thing, it's because you're distracted. You're doing what they want you to do. You know, Zionism and Israel are two different versions for you to not blame them specifically. You know, oh, it's not them as a whole. It's the bad versions, the Zionists. When Zionist is their label, you know, that's not some secret or some shit. The funniest thing though is the whole Goyim stuff. How mad they get when we use Goyim. And that's why years ago I started with the Team Goyim thing. Years ago. Because I knew that's how it would work. I knew they would get mad if we did it. You know, I could have called our... If you see, like, if you Google Goyim and you see the AI overview, they say shit like, you know, it's just a term that they use to talk about non-them, and it's not a big deal, and it's nothing sinister, it's nothing mean or anything like that. It's just a term of endearment. It's just a nice little happy term, the Goyim. However, if we use it, we need to be reported. That's what they say. If they use, one of them use Goyim, you need to report that feed. You need to, you know, they're just, it's anti-Semitic. I guess I missed it while I was inside real quick. You know, I had an interesting experience the other day with the weatherman, the Channel 7 weatherman here in Detroit. His name is Dave Rexroth. Sounds Jewish, but I don't know if it is. But when I was talking to him, he said, "Well, do you have a weather question?" And we were at the spree. And he's doing random interviews. I can't even imagine why he came up to me. I even tried to avoid it. He came up to me, which was weird. And he interviewed my child, and then my wife, and then me. And then he left. Weird. But it was presented to me, well, you want to ask him a weather question, you know? And I said, all right, well, it's not really a weather question, but it's, you know, the trails. And he was like, oh, you mean chemtrails? Oh, yeah, well, they're not really a thing. It's just normal airplane exhaust. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And he's like, no, you know, I mean, I have a master's. He said, you don't, what if I tell you I have a master's in all this? And I'm like, dude, what you telling me you have a master's means is you have a lot more to lose than I do. You know, you have a really nice 6-figure job where you don't do shit. You're a weatherman. You're a joke. You're wrong 50% of the time. You know, like, get the fuck out of here. But he was like, well, no, it's actually, let me just explain. It's actually, and he's giving me this explanation about how the air currents are, the way he made it sound like up there, the air currents are less than they are. I don't know. Something stupid. But yeah, I wish he could have filmed. I should have. I didn't think it was going to happen. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't do that. That was really dumb of me. I should have broke my phone out right away and said, here, let me record this. That was fucking stupid. That's why I need people around me to keep me in, you know. I can't think of everything. But he's telling me his shit, and I'm looking at him, and halfway through he goes, you don't believe any of this, do you? Like, that's not something that's a confident truth teller does. You don't just stop in the middle of your explanation and not like, he didn't say it like shitty. He said it in a defeated kind of way, like, oh, you're not believing any of this, are you? Like, he knew it was just bullshit. It's bullshit. And I was like, you know what, Dave, I'm not even really that concerned with the chemtrails as much. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's a big deal, but what's way more interesting to me is Mishnah Nadah 5:4. He's like, well, what's that? And so I pulled it up. I'm like, read it. Why try to fight something that's inevitable? Why is it inevitable? He knew you. That's what it seemed like. What's inevitable? I think your destruction is inevitable. That's why you're here. Do you understand? If someone like me wasn't really, really dangerous to what you're doing, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't now be on my second feed trying to get attention and distract and dissuade and manipulate. You would not care about what this dumb Goyim has to say like you don't care about what most dumb Goyim have to say. Your presence itself says way more than you do. But I think everybody is realizing it. And it really does take like it's like everybody is at that cliff, right? And they're looking over and they're like, hey, all this Jewish stuff is kind of weird. I've heard this, I've heard that. And when you then give them Mishnah Nada, that's that push over the cliff. If I can get you to read this, to just hear this and address this and see it for yourself. Like, it's really interesting to me to tell people and look at their face as they're either reading it or I'm telling them. Yeah. Nothing to see here, folks. Especially when you got this one just flying overhead. So this one is going to Detroit Metro Airport, which is about 10 miles south of here. This one, apparently, is heading to Selfridge Air Force Base, which literally, if you followed the direction that this plane is going right now, northeast, about 45 miles, 45 miles, something like that, you'll run into Selfridge Air Force Base. Right? It's clear that's what's happening. Let's see. Michigan flight tracker. Interesting how none of these planes will be flying right now. Why isn't it coming up? It's amazing how hard this is to find. So we're at that point where the trails are something else. What the fuck? I can't find something that just shows me. Let's see, maybe this is gonna show me the actual radar images of this stuff. Nope. Skyscanner.com. Nope. Can't find it. Real-time flight tracker. There we go. Let's see. Is this going to show me? Nope. It's just showing me like... Oh, I guess I'm not going to find it anyway. It's so fucking hot out there. You guys are fucking done. We are fighting a cancer. And when it comes to cancer, there is no halfway. You don't just eradicate 70% of the cancer and hope for the best. You try to eradicate 100% of it. Every last shit. In some cases, like breast cancer and whatnot, women will get their tits removed just to as a preventative measure. Right? When it comes to dealing with cancer, we just don't fuck around. We don't give it the chance to thrive and exist and multiply. And that's what this is. This is a cancer upon society. Always has been. And if I wasn't right about everything I'm doing and saying, they would just say so. Right? You actually have admitted fucking, admitted Jewish people on here crying about what I'm saying, but not denying any of it, not addressing any of it. Saying stupid shit like, why fight the inevitable? Something that's inevitable. Like they don't understand that. They don't understand the idea of, even though it may seem impossible, it's like the Palestinian children throwing rocks at tanks. They just can't understand why, instead of just cowering and allowing the rape and torture, they continue to fight back. And they're like, because if it was them, they just allow it. Once it gets to a certain point where their manipulation isn't working anymore, the bribes aren't working, whatever, then they'll just let it happen. They're cowards. They're fucking cowardly, awful pieces of shit. And so this notion of why fight the inevitable, because it's wrong. And it's not inevitable, we can eliminate this. It just requires unification. It requires elimination of the silly religious beliefs that keep you the good slave you're supposed to be. The good Goyim. Do you know, 5 years ago, if I said Goyim, 50% of the people had no idea what I was talking about. You say Goyim now and everybody knows the word. They're experts at manipulation and they are cowards. Yes. Well, I mean, it leads to the idea that there's something else going on here. You have to accept that the position that they're in, they're maintaining it. They're not, people always talk about they're trying to take over this, or they're not trying to take over anything. They're trying to maintain it. They're fighting tooth and nail to maintain this position of superiority and authority. Did you see the video where the IDF soldier was fucking doing cocaine, talking to Hamza and forget the other guy's name, really prominent pro-Palestinian guy. But they were talking to 3 IDF soldiers, and they noticed that the one had a key with some cocaine on it. And when they pointed it out, he got all weird, and the other guy was like, what are you doing this for? It's pretty fucking funny, actually. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Of course, it's not going to pop up when I look for it, though. I guess not. Yeah. It's crazy how hard it is to... This is what they show Israeli Jewish men. And they're like, come join the military. All the girls look like this. Yeah, they were all shirtless, right? Look at that shit. Damn, son. But it's that, hey, if you join, you'll meet girls. You want to meet good really hot Jewish girls, look, they're right here. All you gotta do is join up and be willing to kill people. Children. Yeah, it's just nuts. And it's all so obvious. The problem being, again, so many, I don't know of a single truther that isn't, a Christian or doesn't tell you to focus on Zionism. Most of them are Christians. Can you imagine if our military did that? Well, they do. I mean, it's all kinds of shit. It's all just fucking wild. At this point, Mary, it's all just, you sit here and you just go like, it's like everybody's driving around in these fire engines. And you're like, the house, it's on fire across the street. It's on fire. Come put the fire out. And you're seeing the fire engines drive by. And they're going, and you're like, no, it's back over here. And they're like, what? They're spraying houses down the street. Houses over there, houses over here. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? It's right there. It's the big burning, bright fucking house. It's on fire. You can't see this? You don't see it right in front of your fucking face? And I don't know. I'm at this really like confusing, disheartening sort of place because I'm looking at my fellow Goyim and thinking like, what the fuck are you doing? What else do I need to show you? What else do you need to see before you realize like it's an us versus them situation? How many Mission on the Dial 5-4s do you need? How many Bottom of Darkness articles do you need? 3,000 to 3,600 times per year. In New York alone, metzitzia are happening. That works out to be around 10 per day. And then they're going to tell you, it doesn't happen as much as you think it does. Metzitzia is when the circumcision ritual where they suck on it. Yeah, it's fucking gross. The family has a party, hires a man to come over to perform the ritual, and then watches as he cuts and then sucks on the, what? What? That's happening here in the United States? It must be really rare. No, 3,000 to 3,600 times a year in New York alone? Why isn't anybody stopping this? Do you not understand how fucking crazy this is? How disgusting this is? Would you let it happen to your kid? Is there any sort of justification for it whatsoever? Oh, so God doesn't destroy the earth again and keep showing us rainbows? Is that it? Does that justify it for you? Mary, I appreciate you being here, but I wasn't planning on being here this long. It was my wife's fault for showing me that interview with the water, and I've been telling you guys, we could talk about chemtrails, we could talk about this, we could talk about that. The fluoride in the water is just, it's we all deal with it. It's something that doesn't matter what religious bullshit you believe in, or what political affiliation you have, or what sex you identify with, what your pronouns are. Nothing like that. It affects all of us. And they openly say that putting fluoride in the water has it might have a 3 to 26% chance of preventing cavities in adult teeth. And you're not supposed to ask, what else does fluoride do to the human body? It can't just be something that strengthens teeth against cavities and that's it. Thanks, Mary. I appreciate you for being here. for enjoying it. I'm thrilled that not only you but your kid digs what Kirk all the enemies with the blue and with the Ben Shapiro energy. It's fucking great. I love it. And it's just more proof that we're censored. Like I say it all the time. If my band page that has 6,300 following, if when we posted shit, the comment section was full of negative comments, shitty, this sucks, this is terrible, blah, 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 then we'd at least have some sort of honest perspective. But the fact that I don't cry about the lack of good comments, nice comments. I mean, sure, that would be nice and all, but it's not how the system works. We're much more likely to complain about a bad meal at the restaurant than we are to compliment the good meal. What the fuck is that beeping? Anyway, you guys have yourselves a wonderful night. Go check out the presentation that I don't think they're better. I provide you with everything I can, and it's all their stuff. It's all their stuff. Outside of my songs, our songs, it's all their stuff. There is no hiding behind. This is just frozen good. Feed's frozen again? Most, but not all. I don't know what you mean. Well, there's always more that can be added, but as far as the presentation goes, I don't think, I think it's more than enough. Anyway, have a great night, and you pedophiles, kill yourself. For real. Kill yourself. Oh, it'll be interesting. We'll see how many views this video says I have. I wonder if it's going to be 0. We'll see. What's going on, man? Living a dream. Anyway, I'll see you guys.